What's going on, people? Welcome to United View. Welcome to the morning show, man, where we get into the latest rumours, the latest news, the latest gossip, the latest opinion at Manchester United. And there's definitely a lot of that going on right now. I have to say, the fallout from the Bournemouth game has just been, lies, deceit, rumours. The club's not happy, briefings,
stormouts,
walkouts. Players on social media versus maybe they're not on social media saying stuff. Unhappy versus not unhappy, just unfit, injuries, this, that, and the other. So much going on, man. So much going on. And some of the big journalists, some of the big wigs have been talking about the future of Erik ten Hag as well and where he's at and hanging by a thread. And no one's been spoken to as of yet. Some of the real top tier one journalists are letting us know that, Ineos still haven't spoken to anyone yet. They're still waiting for the Avengers to assemble. So, there's nothing on the manager front. So it's really interesting to see what's going on. Just to get into the chat straight off the bat. John James says, big up Owen and Flex. What's good, Flex and Owen? Says Paco. Big up Flex and Owen, says Stephanie. Big up Steph. Big up Flex and Owen. You guys, mods look better. Moods, sorry, not mods. Our moods look better. Well, it's just coping, isn't it, really? Because when it gets to talking about Man United, we're still pissed off. But yesterday was such a crazy day.
Cycle. It's a vicious cycle of United, because we were saying this during the match view, weren't we, Saturday? We were saying that what basically happens is a match happens, we get really angry because the football we see isn't very good, isn't it? We get really angry, we get really upset. This is rubbish, it's terrible, rah, rah, rah. And then time happens. Then, 3 or 4 days, or in the case now at this point of the season, sort of 7-8 days happen. And then once the next match gets around, you're excited because it's a new match day. And you go, oh, here we go again. And you believe. You speak, particularly if you're us, we speak all week about players, about news, about previews, about the game. And then what happens? The game kicks off and we go, oh, this is shit.
Yep.
We live in this perpetual cycle, but I think that's what being a fan is, isn't it? That is the life of a fan. You've got to have that. You've got to have an element of belief, don't you? You've got to have an element of it and just keep going. You've got to keep going.
You do. What I will say though is, speaking of element of belief, nearly 500 people watching already in the first few minutes of the show, which is brilliant. 75 likes, guys. 250 straight in the bag. 250 straight in the bag. I've got the feeling this is going to be a good stream. 500 watching already. I think we can get to 500. I really do. Probably higher. So why not believe? Why not believe? Loads to talk about this morning. And also, it isn't just our show. It isn't just what me and Owen want to talk about. It isn't just what we pick out of the media as the talking points / opinion points. It's your show as well. So please, in the chat, if you would like a topic to be brought up or you want the conversation to go a certain way, once we've got all the things that you can see there on screen that we do have down to talk about, once we've done all that and you guys have got involved, feel free. The floor is yours. You know what I mean? It's your show as well. And again, get your super chats in, get your members chats in, get your comments in the comment boxes going as well. Garsha comes straight through. And Garsha is the latest member of the UV Members Club as well. So big up to everyone who's in that, and big up to Garsha who's just joined. Make Garsha feel welcome to the family in the members chat as well. So yeah. Owen, what we got straight off the bat now? Ten Hag latest.
Yeah, a bit of an update on Erik ten Hag, as you would expect. It's largely, I suppose, more of the same, but when it comes from this person in particular, it is, of course, significant. And it comes from David Ornstein, talking to NBC Sports yesterday. He was asked what is the situation with Erik ten Hag after the 2-2 draw against Bournemouth. Of course, that means, 1 win in 7 in the Premier League, I think it is at the moment. No wins in our last 4, I believe, in the league as well. So he was asked about Erik ten Hag, his future, the state of play at Manchester United, and he said, quote, "There's no decision, as far as I know, on his future yet. Ineos are going to consider his situation in the weeks, months ahead going into the summer. They are working with him at the moment. He's privy to plans for the summer transfer window and pre-season." He then continued by saying this is a bit of a caveat, and this is kind of where everything hinges on at the moment. But of course, the situation is in the balance. He will know it's a results-based industry, and performances and results have not really been good enough of late. So according to Ornstein, as of right now, I guess the situation is as it is, which I suppose some people might say, that's boring, or, tell us when there's any real news, or tell us when there's any real change. But as of right now, things are firmly in the balance. He is having discussions. They are having talks about some transfer targets, about preseason, about what have you. But as long as results keep going against him and performances aren't all that good as well, that pressure will continue to mount. And this is why I was kind of saying on the Trinity on Friday, when I was saying, I need more information. Maybe I didn't phrase it the best way. But what I kind of was meaning, Flex, was that there's still a lot that can happen between now and the end of the season. It can still go very, very badly, or it can still, I mean, and I'm more leaning.
But then it feels like it already has. One win in 7 is already it.
But what I mean is in terms of reflecting in the league table. So at the moment we're 7th. We've gone down a position this weekend from 6th to 7th. And we said, didn't we? We're looking over our shoulders now as opposed to looking up. And there is a potential. There is a possibility. We could end up in like 8th or 9th come the season ending. How can you survive that as the Manchester United manager? No Manchester United manager, certainly in modern history, has been able to do that. Or we could win an FA Cup. We could end up, I don't think in the Champions League anymore. I think that's off the table. And we could end up in 6th or something. And you go, wow, Europa League, FA Cup. He's already won more trophies than Mikel Arteta at Arsenal. You have those conversations. So that's why I'm saying there is still a chapter to play out in all of this. I feel like I don't know what that chapter is. But there's still chapters to play out.
There is as long as it's not over yet. You don't know where the final. You don't know the final shambles. Basically, you don't know the levels to how bad it can be. So we are 7th now, right? So leapfrog by Newcastle. Luckily, West Ham got slapped. Because that would have, they would have been below them as well. That wouldn't have been great. I just don't know what. I haven't basically from the slim position that we're in with the minimal amount of games that are left. How many games are left? 6. 6 games left. From the 6 games left plus the FA Cup, which I'm really pessimistic right now. Sorry for not believing as it stands, but I don't think we're going to win the FA Cup, right? But one-off game at Wembley, if it is Chelsea, if they pull off a miracle against City, you never know. You never know. We had a shootout against Chelsea at the Bridge because 2 crap teams. So that is a 50-50 game, Chelsea and Man United in the final. But I can't see Chelsea beating City. And I know it sounds defeatist. And if we do get past Coventry and it is going to be Man City, which it probably will be, I will be there. I will be like, come on, we can do this, that, and the other. But at the same time, I can't. I still feel like it's not. We can't do it. So I just don't know what more. Like 1 win in 7 is like, unless he goes 6 in 6, which you won't. I
don't know. You can say defeat, but there's just no evidence.
We're not going to.
There's no evidence.
And even that, it's like we have to be careful now at the bit. And this is where, again, depending on what side of the coin you're on, this is where any form of short-termism within a small little purple patch is like, if you've made up your mind that he's not the right person to take us forward, you're not going to be swayed by the next 6 games. There's nothing, even if we won the next 6 games 3-0 in a row. I know that would be like, wow, I can't believe that.
Well,
but
if that did happen, momentum's a funny thing, isn't it? All that kind of stuff. But it's
the whole thing is.
Yeah, it's more the reality of the situation, isn't it? I think that's the thing as well. I mean, I circled back. I can't remember when it was now, when we were doing predictions. This must have been like 3 months ago or something like that. And my prediction at the time was I didn't think he'd be in the dugout at the beginning of next season. And that was purely based on I didn't see him getting the results necessary to keep his job. And then I kind of diverted from that now. And I diverted from that a little bit after picking up some results and also that Liverpool game in the FA Cup, I really thought this has got to be the catalyst. And also, we did have a run of games where you go, well, we should be picking up points.
There was enough time after that Liverpool game to come back out and play Brentford. That should have gone on the run.
There were games, and you go, well, Brentford, should beat them away. And Chelsea away. I know you can say, well, Chelsea away, but still, you go, well, this season, and we should have won that game. People didn't think we were going to win the Liverpool game. Fine, but then get a point. And then Bournemouth away, you go, you should get something out of that game. Like the games were there, and then we fumbled it. We have fumbled it. And what's on top of that, not only have we fumbled it, the teams around us, they're messing up as well. Had we done what we were supposed to do, we'd absolutely be in the conversation for Champions League at the moment. Absolutely. Look how many times Spurs have dropped points in recent weeks and the games they've got to come. But we now find ourselves in a position where that gap's still there between ourselves and Spurs. And it's not to take away from the players as well, because a lot of those players are just clearly not good enough. And there needs to be sweeping change at Manchester United, of course. But I don't know, Flex. I don't know. Like we kind of said after the Bournemouth game, when you start to feel a bit numb, I think we're in that territory. Bit numb, and you're muted as well, Flex. Flex so numb that his voice is gone.
Yeah, sorry. I'm definitely I definitely feel numb. Like, it just end the season. I said it after the Bournemouth game. I was just like, just get out. Just stop. Just finish this thing. I can't bother to keep doing this now. And there's only 6 games to go, so we've all done pretty well to still be emotionally involved on the roller coaster. It's our team, isn't it? We love our team, but and we will watch every game, of course. But it's like the emotion and the level of anger. I think Gary Neville said it yesterday, didn't he, in his sort of preview before the game at the Emirates. He was asked, about that performance, and he goes, most Man United fans, just the anger's gone now, the disappointment's gone. Like, it's true. It's just a feeling of emptiness.
Right.
It's just a feeling.
You say that you were pretty angry during the game.
absolutely. But afterwards, that's what I mean by afterwards. By the time I'd finished that and woke up the next day, then saw what Gary Neville said after, I was like, yeah, I feel like that. It's gone now. Like, because even in that Bournemouth game, I was angry at some points, obviously. Yes, I get that. But there's also times where I was just laughing. And that's, we've said to KG, like, oh, yeah, you got to work on that, maybe. But, I honestly, like, no one can question how much I love this team. But I mean, like, I honestly don't want it to come across bad. But, like, in the moments of us, like, when we can't keep the ball and it's these mad decisions and, like, all these, like, I'm not even going to disrespect these teams and call them average teams. I'm not going to call them that. Yeah, but all these other teams are just raining on our goal and cutting us open. I just look and laugh. I'm just like, it's laughable now. Now it's laughable.
To fumble it at the end. I mean, let's not dress it up. We tried to fumble it again at the end of that game. Like, it was. I mean, the lines came out from VAR, and even now, some people are like, that wasn't right. They should have got a penalty. Blah blah blah. So, it's almost like, when you go, what more needs to be said? We're shit.
Yeah.
And as time goes on, with Ten Hag specifically, his future, his job, Ineos must be watching this. And also, I say Ineos, the people that seemingly, apparently, are going to make the decision on his future, Omar Barada, Dan Ashworth, Jason Wilcox, they must be watching this being like, I know some of these players aren't good, but, like, surely you can do better than this. Like,
and you know what? Gary Neville
surely
said
you can.
Yeah, absolutely. And he made a good point, Gary Neville. He said 9 of these players are the starters. 9. So you've lost 2 players, basically. And I know that's like, again, people will just push back straight away with the other side. Just hear me out. Well, hear him out is his point. But it just made me think that's a good point. There's 9 players out that are starting that would normally start. And he said, the only thing I did push back a little bit on was when he said Maguire and Varane. He goes, it's pretty much the same. It's a bit of a toss-up. It's not really, for me, Varane's better.
Yeah.
Definitely. But he means, like, in their best, most confident versions, right now, is there a big difference? But whatever. The rest of it, he was right. He was like, Marcus Rashford, Garnacho, Hojlund, they start. Bruno, Cobby, Casemiro's a starter, isn't he? Which is what the problem is, but he is a starter. Dallow's a starter. Wan-Bissaka has been a starter for so long, but not a left back. I'll give him that. Martinez, you'd bring him in, and Onana's a starter. So you're like, well, yeah. So how could it be this bad then? How could it be this? That means we're saying that Luke Shaw's because Luke Shaw and Martinez are not there. That's why we're this bad, isn't it?
Because even and this was kind of what I was saying before when I was saying, well, if that is the reality, if we're saying that, and look, obviously, Lisandro Martinez is very important to how we play, obviously, yes. But if we're saying that the difference between basically being able to play football and not being able to play football is one player, which is Lisandro Martinez, one, that's very alarming if it's true, and two, that's not really the case, because when Leacher has played, I get it, infrequently this season, it's not as if it's been dramatically different. The issues tactically are still there. The gaps in the midfield are still there. And as you said, I think looking forward to this game at the weekend against Coventry, I think we win, obviously.
They're a decent side, by the way.
I know. I think we win. I do think we win, But when they get shots on goal, because they will, because every team has this season, like that's going to be the the difficult thing to swallow, isn't it? Like a team outside the playoff places is going to have quite a few shots at goal. And let's face it, the way we're playing at the moment, it gives teams confidence. It gives teams spirit. You look at Bournemouth, Bournemouth were in no way, shape or form intimidated about us coming to the Vitality at the weekend.
No. You heard Dominic Solanke afterwards.
Yeah. We beat them 3-0 at Old Trafford. So why won't we do
done a
that?
double over them, and we should have just beat them again.
Yeah. So
and that's the thing. That's the thing. Again, every team right now is licking their lips at the prospect of playing Man United. Licking their lips. Now, don't get me wrong. Yes, Coventry, of course, in the champ. They're not going to get promoted. No way. They're outside the playoffs, so it's like, look, they're not even going to have a chance at going. I'm not even going to get playoffs, and it's like they're 8th in the championship. But they don't get me wrong. There'll be an element, obviously, of it's Man United. They've got players you can destroy us at any moment. But they will be like,
they'll believe.
I tell you what, we have to. Yes,
legitimately, they will believe. They will be
and
like,
they should.
We can do this.
That's not just because they're Coventry and they find themselves in a semi-final, but because tactically the manager should be going, I tell you what, if we just hang on in there, be physical, be good in transition, they will give gaps. They will. Do you know what I mean? So, yeah, I still can't see us just wiping them away. What should happen in that semi-final is we should win 3-0 comfortably. Like, that's what. Just with football. I know they say football's not played on paper, but if that was Man City going into this game, or Liverpool, or Arsenal, or even Newcastle, I don't know, just someone just good. Like, you'd just be absolutely sure they're going to... I feel sorry for Coventry in that semi-final. Yeah, they're going to get absolutely slapped. But if you look at this game as a neutral or even a United thing, you're like, I think United will win, but I don't... Coventry will get chances. Like, you know what I mean? It might just be like a 1-0, just get out. Like, it might not be hot. It might not be great to watch. It might not be great to watch. Yeah. And that's where you look at it, isn't it? That's where you're looking at it going, this could go either way. So I don't know, man. We have to just wait and see. There's a lot of super chats here and members chats to get through. Let's start. United Community Channel says Eric Ten Hag hasn't changed his ideas. It worked last season. What has changed? The usual players thrown in the towel in season 2 like previous managers. Tabra says views on Garnacho/Antony antics. Yeah, I had my say on my Flex's view. Owen, quickly before we carry on with chats. What do you make of all of that?
On the Garnacho thing, I know it's unfortunately it's part of this day and age, isn't it, where players do things and go on social media. I'd always, like any fight, you would go to wait until the morning. Don't get involved, and also people see everything. So if you like and then you unlike stuff, people are going to see. It puts unnecessary pressure on you, your teammates, your manager. I wouldn't do that. The Antony one. It's weird. It's weird because even today, Rob Dawson said this morning, actually, quote, sources close to Antony have said that his injury is not serious and that he could recover in time for Manchester United's game against Coventry in the Emirates FA Cup semi-final on Sunday. But then you get other people saying categorically he was not injured on Friday. And They're not really speaking to the fact that maybe there was a fallout between him and Erik ten Hag, which would be really alarming considering you've got ten Hag falling out with his own guys now. So it could be something else, but it's just more drama, isn't it? I suppose that's the thing, isn't it? It's more drama. It's another narrative coming out of Manchester United this season. But yeah, on the Garnacho one, I'd be like, just don't do it. Just don't do it. The Antony one, we'll have to wait and see what happens with that. You do get the impression that there's yet to be something definitive, but now the seed's been planted. So even if Antony and Ten Hag both came out and said, "Oh yeah, he was injured," people are like, bullshit. He was never injured. Like the seed's already been planted, really, hasn't it? So, yeah.
Yeah, I just, it's just a mess, isn't it? Like, shout out to United Insider.
Inside United, yeah.
Yeah, Insider United. Obviously, he says he's, not doing this next season, says he's off. Good guy, really good guy. And it's difficult, isn't it? Because I know him. I know he's on the money with a lot of things.
Yeah.
On the money with a lot of things. I did say in the Flex's view that the Antony situation, well, I was like, well, all we've got at the minute is to go off what the club said. And that was that. But it doesn't mean it's 100% true.
Yeah, like I said, the seed's been planted now. So even when they come out and say, "No, I know he wasn't injured," people are like, "Oh yeah, sure he wasn't."
Exactly. Space Oddie says, with Barcelona, Liverpool, and Bayern looking for new managers, who do you guys think will be left for us? Are they better than Ten Hag? Who are we going to get left at the scraps?
Well, obviously, it's going to be Gareth. Gareth's coming in. He's going to save the day. That's what also last week they said, I'm a politician. I got called a coward as well.
Why? Why did you get called that?
Because I went, I don't know how I feel about Erik ten Hag at the moment, which is equivalent to cowardice, by the way. And I thought, wait a minute. I just cursed Gareth Southgate to the end of the earth like a week before or whatever. So it's not as if, again, I don't think do you have to have an opinion on everything? Maybe in what we do, I suppose you do. I don't know. But I think it's okay to say, I don't know. I feel quite, like we were saying at the end of the game, feel quite numb to everything at the moment. But there's still certain things. Gareth Southgate, my goodness me. I was thinking that over the weekend, actually, Flex. It was like in the dystopian reality that he does become Manchester United's manager, what would I do? I don't know how I'll be able to do this job.
Well, you'd have to find a way.
Resign.
No, you'd have to address you'd have to do your own video addressing
I don't
what
know
you've said before,
but
and you'd have to deal with it. We'd all have to deal, not just you, mate. None of us want him. We'd all have to deal with it.
Well, the rumors were suggesting that you do, considering your defense of him.
Well,
really.
Exactly.
Well,
so you're saying
I don't know. And deflected Southgate in, apparently.
My defense of him and for England with you to wind you up is one thing. Like I said many times, he cannot come to Man United. And in my view, he ain't. It's all bullshit.
Yeah, in my heart of hearts, I look at the information that is given at the moment, which is Omar Barada, Dan Ashworth, Jason Wilcox, and I go, right, you've identified people with really strong CVs, reputation,
British, English,
achievements as well. And surely he can't look at Gareth Southgate like, where is the CV? Where is the CV for that? So I'm like you. I think he's a bit of a boogeyman at the moment. I think he's being used to scare people.
Yeah. Mac, member for 8 months, says, does Rashford have a minutes clause in his contract? I can't understand why he keeps starting. Hard to back Erik ten Hag when he won't drop poor performers. Well, it's just things that we've been speaking about, isn't it? About contributing to, the shit, really, when you make bad decisions, or from the fan perspective, we look at and we don't understand. Ten Hag. I've put myself in Ten Hag's shoes. Not that I agree with the decision, by the way, because I'm with you, Mac. I don't know how Rashford keeps staying on the pitch or starting so many games with how bad he's been at times. But if I put myself in Ten Hag's shoes, I just think he's taken on one too many big personalities now, and I feel like he got to a point where he's like, well, Bruno, I definitely can't challenge him because he's my captain, and I made him the captain. And he loves Bruno. He rates Bruno. And Rashford, I can't go for him. He's taken the piss with the Belfast thing, a couple of other things this season. Spoke out quite a lot. Like, it's been awful. Hasn't looked happy all season. But he's just gone, well, I have to just keep backing this guy because I don't want to lose him. Like, he's just scared to take him on. But that in itself is the problem. That in itself is one of the issues. That game yesterday against Bournemouth, I do see the thing for Garnacho with his frustration. You shouldn't air it like that. But basically, they both played poorly. Garnacho played awful in the first half, and it led up to the first goal. Rashford was horrible the whole game. But if I backed at halftime, if I was to back somebody to turn their performance around and get themselves back in the game, I would back Garnacho to do it. Erik ten Hag in that moment backed the more experienced player. But that's where he's like, well, that is a bit of a scapegoat thing. Is it's like, how is Rashford getting to stay on? But that's the coin that Ten Hag decided to flip, and it failed because Rashford went on to have another shit 45 minutes. He didn't justify staying on, and then even then you're like, how did he? Casemiro, how did he stay on?
Right. I said it after the Liverpool game, or during the Liverpool game, the 2-2, that when Rashford went off and Garnacho moved into his position, we looked so much better because someone actually was willing to, run and do things. Whereas Rashford, we bemoan Antony for being predictable. I'd argue Marcus Rashford is just as predictable as Antony. If I'm a fullback, I'd love to play against Marcus Rashford. You know what he's going to do every time? He's going to pick up the ball. He's going to come at you. He's then going to stop. And you think, is he going to do he's going to wait for the overlap? That's just a fake out. He never goes with the overlap. So that person just runs for no reason. He then cuts inside. He might stop again. Or even if he continues to cut inside, he'll keep cutting inside. 3 players there, and then eventually passes it to the opposition. Or he can just get a block in. And then, by the way, because we're so terrible in transition, that will then lead into a chance for them and probably a shot at goal. And I'm not saying, all the shots at goal are Marcus Rashford's fault, but like you say, I think Garnacho, I can understand his frustration. Ten Hag said that, he only trained Friday, which people did point out was a bit odd considering there were training pictures of him in the week. But then Marcus Rashford only came back at a certain point, didn't he, into training this week because he was injured by all accounts as well. So I get it. I mean, Ten Hag said it in his press conference because we covered it at the embargoed part before the game when he did take a bit of a swipe at Rashford as well. When he went, considering the goals we had last season, I thought adding Hojlund in with Rashford getting like 30 goals, that would be enough. And he's sort of going, Rashford ain't done enough this season. And he hasn't. He hasn't done enough. And that is why when Rashford does do those pieces like, you can't question my loyalty or does that kind of stuff, you just go, mate, it's not the time to talk now. The time is for action on the pitch. You can do that kind of stuff. Like, do it when you start scoring again and be like, see, you shouldn't have doubted me. But when you're playing badly, you're like, don't doubt me. It almost feels like with Rashford, it's like he needs the chip on his shoulder to do something. Because every time
he said it.
Yeah, every time there's been like a flashpoint this season, he then scores in the next game. It goes out of Belfast, scores against Wolves. He does the Players Tribune thing, scores against City, and you go, but we can't keep doing that every single week.
But then it's one game after the adversity, one goal after the adversity, and then back to the shit. So that, do you know what I mean? And he literally said it, quote, in this thing, didn't he? He said, I've always done my best when people doubt me. Or what's that saying he said at the end? Doubt me twice or something.
If you back me good, if you doubt me even better, or something.
There you go. So
there's a lot of people doubting you, mate.
There you go. So he's insinuating this is cool. I got this, and in his head he might be saying I'm going to have another 30-goal season next year. Watch what I do now after this shit one. But again, that would be in line with what he does. Do you know what I mean?
Well, here's an interesting
Marcus
one.
Rashford was good last year. Next year.
Here's an interesting one, Flex, because this actually kind of gets into the KG point about, players being good or better or blah, blah, blah. So Erik ten Hag after the game, this is what he had to say. He said, quote, I've been in football for a very long time. The players were very motivated, but as I explained, I have to repeat myself. I don't do that. They were motivated, but the organization was not right. We lost balls where we shouldn't lose them under pressure of the opponent. Our players are better than this. That's the key line there. Our players are better than this. And I suppose the question is, are United better than this? Or this group of players, is this their level we've seen this season? Is this their level?
Yeah.
Or are they better than this?
Question.
This gets into the territory of because the blame clearly is on both the players and the manager. But this is when you get into the territory of where does more lay? Are the players better than this and he should be getting more out of them? Or is this just their level? And is this the best that Erik ten Hag can get out of this group of players? I'll put a poll in.
It's so weird, this question. And it's a brilliant question because I think the questions are both. I think the answers are both. And I know that sounds fence-ish, but I think the answers are because look, as a manager, here's why the answer's both, right? With them players, we see teams that have worse individual players play better than us. So that means Ten Hag's not getting the best out of the team collectively. Yeah. As putting them all together as decent players or big names in football, whatever, they're obviously not set up right to be playing like that and conceding that many shots and can't play out from the back and completely clueless. That's a tactical aspect to the infrastructure of the team. Because how can Brentford look more organised? How can Bournemouth look more organised? Fucking Lewis Cook and bloody, Aya for Brentford. Or like how? That's not. Do you know what I mean? So let's not forget that. But one thing which I have always spoke about is that our players aren't as good as we think they are. Now, that more comes into it in terms of thinking that these players, if set up right, could actually bring us to where we want to actually get to. They can't. They can't. Marcus Rashford, Bruno, Luke Shaw, Maguire, McTominay, Casemiro. There's loads. Like they're not the players that are gonna close the gap to City and Arsenal and Liverpool. They're not gonna do it. They've been here for ages. Some of them. They're not gonna do it. They're not good enough. They've had chances. They play a certain way. They're not gonna learn any other way. They're not gonna learn. We could be a better team altogether by being set up right, run harder, concentrate a bit more. That would get us, an extra 10 points or so. That would get us an extra 3 points. But in terms of this is where it goes into a different situation, different conversation. In terms of trying to actually close the gap to get actually to the summit, them players ain't going to do it. So the answer is actually both for me.
Well, already just in the poll, this I think sums it up. It's 49% to 51%. 49%,
right. Yeah.
49% say yes, United are. Was just switched now. 48%. 48% say yes, the players are better than this. 53% say no, they're not better than this. And that's kind of the narrative almost on the manager, isn't it?
Because they are and they're not.
Out? Yeah.
Do you know
Should the manager be getting more out of them, or is he getting the most out of them? And like you said, it's a bit of. Some are adamant, no, they're just not good enough. Because if they were capable, they'd be able to pass the ball 5 yards. That's not completely a tactical system thing. But
Bruno would spam balls, and Rashford would run into blind alleys,
but these are players that have achieved things, and we have seen them do better. So why can't they be better?
But what's that achievement though? The achievement still. This is what we're saying. They've achieved a Carabao Cup, and some of them have achieved the Europa League. That they're set like this is what I'm saying. Like the credit in the bank with these players is like we like they've had a go. Like they've had a try. That's it now. Bruno has been here since 2020, so that's 4 years. Rashford's come through as a kid, so that was when did he come through? 15 or 16? 15, 15, 16
was
season.
It Van Gaal's last season? Maybe I think it
when
was.
He come in again, I think
15,
it was
16 around that
15,
time.
16. So and Rashford's been here forever. So Luke Shaw been here forever. Harry Maguire, you've had your thing. Scott McTominay, you've come through the academy. You've had it. You've played with Fred. You've played with fucking. Did he play for Herrera? Probably. Yeah, you've been here. He's been here for time. Like you've had all the partners. Martial, we know that's gone. Dallo. This is the first season where we've gone, right, okay, he's arrived. But really, we're like, okay, come on. I want the top level. Wan-Bissaka came for 50 million. Amazing servant. Brilliant at one thing. But overall, for Man United level and quality, we know what we need to do. Varane, Johnny Evans, Lindelof. Like, come on. Like, let's get real. So these players, with what they have achieved, it's still not nothing really. At Man United, they've not done anything. I'm not counting. I know that we were happy when we won those things and got to the final and won the Europa League and a couple of Carabao Cups, one under Jose, one under Oli, one under Eric. But like, that's shit. None of the other big teams are like, at least we've done that. Arsenal are bottling it right now. Even they don't want another FA Cup. Even they're like, no, they've won the FA Cup. Arteta got it when he finished 8th. So we don't want to go back there, and the conversation will change a little bit to say, oh, like you were saying to me, Owen, when are you going to win something? You can't just keep. That's the difficult. But they are competing for the top stuff. You know what I mean? So, and Liverpool the same. They're competing. City, no need to talk about them. So that for me is a real indictment of why it's 50-50. Eric Ten Hag shouldn't be getting outdone, like embarrassing. You can lose like 1-0, or 2-1. It's a tight game, but the way that we get dominated by these other teams, that's tactical, that's set up, that's coaching.
That's the key thing, isn't it? It's like you can go to, or a lot of the top teams could go to the Vitality and lose because they dominate the game and somehow Bournemouth nick one on the counter-attack or they get a set piece and they win. You go, oh, that was unbelievable. But to go there and to be second best, and again, even if it was a one-off and you go, I don't know what happened today, but we just got battered when we went.
Look how Palace just beat Liverpool. Now, don't get me wrong, Palace had some chances they should have scored, but Liverpool, I mean, my God, the chances they missed. Like it's still the type. I mean, they lost against Atalanta, not like that. That was just a beatdown. But usually when Liverpool lose, which isn't very often, they lost against. It's certainly at Anfield. If you are going to do it, it has to be in the manner of that. You need so many things to go for you. You need them to be off it, and you need to have the game of your life. That's so that it becomes something that is not common. We don't we don't really see that. Okay, when City lose a game, or even Arsenal. Like they usually win all their games. But when they do lose, it's like yesterday.
Yeah, you go, oh, that's surprising. Well, I think the key thing also with United is, and the thing that worries me the most is the fact that we make really bad teams look very good. I mean, correct. Like you said, it's the Brentfords this season. Even when we played Sheffield United away from home, like they had a go at us. You know what I mean? It was nip and tuck the whole game. Chelsea, they're not a good side, and at points made them look great. Even again at the weekend, Bournemouth, they played some nice stuff, but we made them look like were they 12th, 13th? We made them look like they're pushing for top 6. We made them look like they're going, they're going to get Europe this season. Like that's what we do. Like when we played
done the same
thing. Fulham done the same thing. When you go, but then when you look at the table, you they're mid-table fodder.
But Owen, Burnley. We went away to Burnley. Bruno scored an amazing goal, but they hit the post. They had a header on top. They were fucking in that first half. I was sitting in the gantry. I was like, they're raining on us. They're raining on us. 1-0 tight. Get out. We had to do that against Burnley.
And that's almost what does worry me about the games coming up. So you look at Coventry, Sheffield United, Burnley. That's our next 3 games, right?
Yeah.
And I think, I think we'll probably win all of them. But I think the conversation coming out of all of them is going to be, man, we played some really shitty teams today. And they got a lot of shots in, or they created a lot of chances.
And we look the same as them, basically.
That's going to be that's going to be the concern.
2 evenly matched teams going at it. That's what it will look like.
That's what it's going to look like.
And that's the problem. Man United have no golfing class with anybody.
And
which is
those 2 games against Sheffield United and Burnley, they're both at home as well. Yeah. So like, when it shouldn't, and this is where we're almost at. You shouldn't look at those games and have any concerns. And I don't necessarily have concerns about the results. I have concerns about what the conversation is going to be afterwards. You know what I mean? Because you can already see it. You can already see the conversation afterwards is going to be, we won tonight, but oh my God. And ultimately, as we've spoken about, it's a result-based industry. So results only are what will matter. But it's still just kind of like, and then you look at the final 3 games of the season, Arsenal, Newcastle, and Brighton. And you look at that and go, that could be like a really disastrous end to the season in the league. Because given our current form and the way we're currently playing, if we play like we have played against Brentford, against Bournemouth. Against the likes of Arsenal at Old Trafford,
Chelsea,
against Newcastle at Old Trafford, against Brighton away from home. And I know Brighton this season aren't what they were last season, but it's like, oh my God, it could be a terrible end to the season. Yeah. So It's an interesting one, certainly. I mean, the poll's been in the chat for close to 10 minutes, over 400 votes. The question was, are United players better than this? 45% say yes, 55% say no. We'll leave that poll up, but it's close. It's close. That's the debate at the moment, isn't it? That's the debate point.
There's a few super chats here. We've got a few more topics to get through. Nearly 1,500 people watching. I had a feeling it would be a good one today. We got over 250. That's quite a while ago. We're on 315 now. What I will say is now, I'm pretty sure we'll get to 1,500 people watching. We're nearly there. We're 60 away. Get liking, guys. Let's get to 500 in the bag. Let's get 500 likes. Let's go. Let's do it. I believe in you guys. Yeah, believe you can do it. Ramanan says, what happens, UV, should... whatever happens, United View should stay neutral and not get toxic like the other channels. Our fan base is divided and many have turned on Eric Ten Hag. Listen, in terms of the remaining neutral thing, we're not going to encourage people to come onto United View to remain neutral. Everyone's got their opinion and everyone should be able to have it no matter what it is, including me, including Owen, including KG and Marcel and everyone who comes on the channel. Minna, Rich, DJ, Steph, Haley, Micah, Raf, everyone, Cam, Charlie, every single person who comes on the channel as a United fan should have their opinion. I don't think we should all remain neutral. Becoming toxic, our community. We're never here to be toxic. No. We're just here, but we are here to give our opinion. We're definitely not going to not give our opinion.
There's a line, isn't there? And I think we're pretty good at not crossing that line. But I think once you start getting into the territory of say censorship, but sort of saying, well, you can't have a certain opinion. That's when the kind of fan opinion kind of goes out the window a little bit as well, isn't it? You know what I mean? So yeah, I get the point, but at the same time, everyone's got an opinion, don't they? Yeah. And sometimes you can like them or you don't like them. It tends to be on whether you agree with them or not, doesn't it? Like we've said before, sometimes, unfortunately, the art of conversation is dead. So if you've got a contrasting opinion, people scream at you that you're an idiot. I'd say there's always a line, that you try not to cross anyway. And I think we do a pretty good job of it.
In my view, it's pretty simple not to cross it. Like,
Don't make it personal. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, exactly. All Elite says it's like we've just stopped talking about just how bad Marcus has been. It's alarming. I don't think we have stopped talking about it, to be honest. No way he can start next season, right? Love you guys. Glory, glory, Man United, and glory, glory, United View. All Elite, I don't know. Do you feel like that, bro? You feel like we've just stopped talking about how bad Marcus has been?
I think maybe what he's maybe sort of suggesting is that it's almost like because his performances have been so bad week to week to week, it's almost like that's become kind of the norm. We almost expect it now. And like the good performances last year seem so far away that it's kind of just it has become the norm, really, hasn't it?
Yeah, it has. It's terrible. WJ Barrow said organisation wasn't right. The manager just admitted it. The players are way better. Ollie and Jose got more out of them. Eric Ten Hag is having a laugh. And Ken Audi says, if we win every remaining game, does Ten Hag still get the sack?
I don't think he probably would. It'd be so much momentum, wouldn't it? But I don't think that's going to happen.
No, and that would include the FA Cup as well. No chance. It's just.
By the way, it is pissing it down outside.
Is it?
Oh my god!
That's that rain that was with me. It must have gone down to you. I've got clear skies and summer now. Remember when just before I got on, I said to you, Jesus, is it? Have you got it now? Yeah.
Yeah, I'm caught up in a hurricane. It's crazy.
Yeah, it's mad. For me, it's blue skies now, blue skies and sun. But like half an hour ago, 50 minutes ago, it was moving crazy. It was pissing down. So yeah, you've got that now, Owen. Hold that. WJ Barrett says they are way better, but still not good enough. Sort of the 50-50 vibe there as well. And WJ Barrett also says, I am going by this season. We are way better than potentially 8th spot and our worst finish in longer than I've been alive. We need better standards. Yeah, which is true. Real Killers 11's been a member for 1 month. There's conspiracy theories going around that Ten Hag is trying to get himself sacked. No, he's not trying to get himself sacked. I don't think that. And Gunza says, I'm hearing talks about Gareth Southgate. Say it ain't so. I don't know where you're hearing talks about that from. I don't know. Like we said, David Ornstein, he's probably arguably one of or the most reliable uh, journalist, transfer man, whatever you want to call it, one of the most reliable names in football, has said there is nothing of yet as he understands it. Fabrizio
Yeah,
Romano, who is
same
probably
thing.
second in
Yeah.
that list, have nothing. So I'm not sure, Gunza, where you're saying you're hearing it from. I know obviously on Twitter there's a lot of stuff, to be fair, probably there. But no, as it stands, from the people who are really at the top of this game, this industry, they're saying no, nothing yet. And we haven't really heard anything else yet, really, have we? There's not really been any journalists who have sort of. We were saying that the other day, Owen. That like, there's not really been any journalists that have been like, it's looking really bad in your spot to
Yeah,
change, or like the snowball effect, the domino
yeah.
effect. Like, it hasn't really. That's why we've always felt that Ten Hag is not imminently going to be sacked.
Well, that's why that's why Ornstein says it's in the balance, isn't it? Because as of right now, there's no information to suggest that he's definitely going to be leaving. There's, I suppose, some information to suggest that he might stay, considering he's in plans for the future. But that's kind of the business as usual mentality, isn't it? Well, until you're told any different, you carry on as usual. And as usual right now is, you know, planning for the summer and targets and pre-season and what have you. But you're right. All of the sort of definitely the big hitters are saying that no, there's no talks with Gareth Southgate. There's no talks with any other manager. They've done maybe a bit of due diligence to see if we wanted to make that choice. Maybe we could. At least we'll know who we can go after. But no active talks, or whatever. And maybe that is because all of the people that would be making that decision currently aren't in post yet, because Omar Barada hasn't started yet, because Dan Ashworth hasn't, the compensation hasn't been agreed, because Jason Wilcox isn't in as well. So that's kind of why. So whilst that's the case, you a bit like John Murtough. As I mentioned when John Murtough left, didn't I? Said that this is, I think, is going to be the example used for Erik ten Hag, which is until you're told different, you carry on, you do your job. And
yeah, because let's not get twisted. Like you said, anything else can easily just go, right, yeah, we've made our decision, see you later. Like they've done it with everyone else. So Erik ten Hag's not going to be any different. Interesting, earlier on, I saw that United District have put up that Christian Falk was quoted as saying as Man United have held concrete talks with Dutch defender Jeremy Frimpong. He has a 34 million release clause in his Bayern Leverkusen contract. He done that on his Court Offside podcast.
My favorite thing with Christian Falk is when when Ralph Rangnick became the interim manager, and he said like hours before, not true. You know, the cross.
Not true. Yeah, he does. Not true.
Not true.
He's tried to get his slogans going.
They had conversations before, and they didn't work out very well. Not true. Like, come out there. Ralph Rangnick is going to become the new Man United manager, and he had. And to be fair to him, he quote tweeted. It was like, got it wrong. Because what can you do when you said no, and then like an hour later, it's like what can you do?
Mental.
I do, by the way, Flex, want to ask your opinion on this, because this was a really interesting stat after the weekend, and we posted it on our socials too, and it got a lot of people talking, lots of different opinions on this, about Rasmus Hojlund. Now, this is a stat that's been going around about him. Since he's returned from injury, Rasmus Hojlund has registered just one shot on target for Manchester United. Now, he's played how many games since returning from injury? Was it 3 or 4? Something like that.
He played Liverpool, Brentford, Chelsea,
Bournemouth. So 4.
Bournemouth, and Liverpool again.
And Liverpool 5. So 5 one shot on target in 5 games. So we put the question on social media, what your thoughts on Rasmus Hojlund's form since returning from injury. And again, the reactions and responses were really interesting, because some were saying, look, I'm not having the whole that he's not getting the service. He needs to do more. As a striker, he needs to do more. There were some that were saying, wow, the only reason he's got one shot on target is because the service to him is rubbish. He looks completely isolated. He looks like he's getting no service, no nothing. So what do you expect? What do you think about it? Should he be doing better? Are you concerned? Is it once again he's getting no service? What are your thoughts on that? And let us know in the chat too.
Just like everything at Manchester United, it's never just one answer. It's never just one thing. It really isn't. Very rarely is it just one thing. And I think this Rasmus Hojlund situation is another example of that. I think the fact that we've seen him score 7 and 6 when he did, in the manner that he did it, shows that the kid's got ability. You know, he's one for the future, and he is going to be a good striker. The fact that even in our, awful moments in the beginning half of the season when he couldn't hit a barn door in the Premier League, he was scoring in the Champions League again. So, and actually, when you look at the goal scoring charts in all competitions for United, he's top. I'm pretty sure he is. He's top by 1 goal, I think, and then Bruno's
he's still our
second.
top goal scorer. Yeah.
So across all comps in his first ever season, he's our top goal scorer, and he's our striker. So when you're trying to pick out some form of positivity in amongst a whole leap of crap, you look at that and say, well, if you're going to label, criticism at the young 18-year-old kid's door, 19-year-old kid's door, in his first ever season in this shit team, you do need to think of it all, because he's our top scorer and he was the top scorer in the Champions League for a while. We finished bottom of the group. Then he started kicking into gear, where he does need to improve because he's young and he's raw, and he should never have come to Man United as the main primary striker with all of this on his shoulders. He shouldn't arrive at Man United under those circumstances. But as it is, with Man United, the shit show, he had to. He had to. And then you look at the lack of chances that he's getting. I mean, in games where we're hardly creating any chances through the striker as well, how do you expect him to do anything? How? He's been given balls played into him that are at chest height or up in the air or into feet, but he's just got to wrestle defenders and he's just fighting them. He's just exhausting all of his energy just off wrestling, basically. And then he starts getting tired. Then he starts, getting unconfident again, like he was in the first. And then he does have bad touches and bad layoffs, and so there's a bit of bad form in there as well because there's a lack of confidence. So no, my scrutiny on him would be patient. Continue to be patient with him. We can see what he can offer us if the team functions even semi, correctly. And yeah, also remember that he's really young. How much better than this do you expect him to be? Price tag's not his fault. Price tag is not his fault. Should never have cost 75 million or whatever it was. Ridiculous. Should have cost about 30 million. Should have been the same price as what's his face at Chelsea? Jackson. Should have been the same price. Should have been 30 million. Do you know what I mean? But again, Man United don't know how the hell to negotiate and get the pants pulled down every single time. If Rasmus Hojlund was 30 million from Atalanta, honestly, yes, there'll be scrutiny because it's Man United, but at the same time, it'd be like, yeah, he's a low-cost kid, 30 million from Atalanta, mate. Not even supposed to be our main guy doing all this. We're supposed to go and get the Harry Kane, the Osimhen, the Tony, the Watkins, the whoever. We're supposed to go and get that guy. But no, we got Rasmus Hojlund at that price, which should never have happened. So I'm with Rasmus. I'll stay behind Rasmus. And I've made my mind up on this quite a while ago because this was a conversation throughout the season of what type of striker do we get next? Do we get someone who is really good where Rasmus might have to sit on the bench a bit? Then people are like, no, because this is the point where he's playing good. No, he's got 6 and 7. He's playing really good. You can't stop his development. No, we can clearly see he's not ready yet to do this, like game in, game out. Probably won't be ready for another year or two, which is fine. It's not supposed to be. So get the guy in who is a proven goal scorer, who knows where the back of the net is, who Rasmus can learn off. Let's not forget the original plan. That's what my thing is.
Yeah, I think, like you said, I think it is a bit of both. I think that some of the criticism is too much, but some of it, I think, some of it is justified. By the way, we're less than 100 likes away from 500, still over 1,400 people watching. So let's get to 500 before we wrap things up. Like he's muted, but he's still saying it's easy. It's easy. But yeah, with Hojlund,
good lip reading.
Yeah, well, but with Hojlund, I do look at the game against Bournemouth at the weekend, and sometimes you do notice that when he gets into the territory of he's not getting enough service or he's not getting involved in the game enough, when he does get involved in the game, he tries to overcompensate for that. So then he does start my hold-up play is going to be great because I'm pulling people in and whatever. And a couple of times the Bournemouth centre-backs just dealt with him quite easily, actually, when that happened. Ball did come in.
Centre-backs have.
And just, and they just went, okay, you try and wrestle with us. You'll concede a foul or we'll snip the ball off you, no problem. So I think in that aspect, you need to improve there a little bit. The wider aspect, of course, is like many players in that team, the system is failing him. He is not getting enough service. And we've seen in recent weeks, you look at people like Erling Haaland or Darwin Núñez, look how many chances they've missed. I think they've got the most chances missed in the Premier League this season. Why? Because they still get lots of chances made for them. Because it's a constant, the production line's constantly there. I'll get another one. I'll get another one. I'll get another one. If Rasmus Hojlund gets the ball, he doesn't know when he's going to get it again. So he's like, it's just got to count. It's got to count for something. And maybe when he was scoring those goals, the 7 and 6 or whatever it was, maybe the thought process, it did feel like at the time that it was just, he couldn't do no wrong. So it felt like if the ball would just hit him, it would go in at that point. And it did feel like, maybe like, Garnacho and Rashford, right? They're understanding how to get to the ball to him, and Bruno, how to get to the ball to him. And the services dried up there a bit. But I would say also with him, he does need to do better as well. But we know the service is shit at Manchester United as well. It's rubbish. The service just like the reception at Old Trafford, that service, it's rubbish. It's all rubbish.
That's actually got a bit better now. Can actually get on the internet there. Just made me laugh because I'm in that bag at the minute. SLD says, Flex, I like your shirt. Looks like you just did the Tour de France. I feel like I've just done the Tour de France this morning. Only spent an hour in the gym to get myself back in there because I am not looking well at what I need to look like at the minute. And I feel like I've just done the Tour de France. So I'm glad. I'm glad you feel like that. That's what I feel like. Get me the yellow jersey, mate.
If you've noticed a couple of times in the morning I've gone like this. Yeah. It's already the season up. So it is.
Yes.
The season up. I sent Flex a voice that's about like 6 o'clock in the morning being like, wake up, let's go. I don't know if I believed it myself when I sent it, but yeah, we did it.
And it's one of them ones. If anyone else is on a health and fitness journey, losing weight, trying to trim up, big up to you. It's not also as well about doing the loads of talking. Oh, I'm doing it. I'm not a what do you call that? Vlogger of like, day one I've done this, day two I've reported.
Yeah.
I just like to just. You guys, because you guys see me every morning.
Hopefully you'll see it.
I wasn't even going to say that one. Hopefully, I didn't want to put too much pressure on, but hopefully you see it. But you will see it in terms of most mornings. You'll probably now see me in gym wear. I've got the massive bottle of water, etc., etc. So you'll probably notice like that. But yeah, big up, man. I do feel like I've just done the Tour de France, as Owen probably does as well. I'm hearing myself. Ken says, if we had better wingers, Rasmus would have way more goals. And James says, Owen, I hate Donny van der Beek. Crazy words, to be honest.
When did I say that? When did I say I hate Donny van der Beek?
Yeah,
I can't believe I would have said that.
I think that's so you're saying.
Yeah, I definitely wouldn't say that about Donny van der Beek. If I have, I apologize because I shouldn't have said that if I did, and I don't like to do that. My thought process with all of this,
I can't believe you would have said that.
I can't believe I would have said that.
No, not the word hate. Not I hate him.
No, exactly. No. Maybe like you said, maybe it's a so you're saying or anything like that, or it might be a sarcastic thing. You're right. I do hate Donny van der Beek, but always I think in this line of work, isn't it? It's be comfortable saying something here. You'd be comfortable saying to people's faces, really, isn't it?
Well, James says I'd never lie.
I don't hate anyone.
No, exactly. And Lil Yo-Yo says, Fleck, throw out the Tony back signal.
Here's one, Flex. I mean, it's kind of different, actually. I was going to say throw out the Ollie Watkins signal, but he costs a lot more. So, forget it.
Yeah, we ain't going to be able to do that. We ain't going to be able to do that, mate. And actually, they're going to be in the Champions League. He's worked hard to get there. He'll probably just stay there.
Right? I remember last summer.
If Arsenal do come, it's different.
Remember last summer saying about Ollie Watkins, and the reaction was British bias, English bias, Brexit transfer, and all that. What if some of the English players are good? We've got a good squad. Shame we got a not very good manager in the England squad. Got to get it in. But maybe Ivan Toney.
Maybe Ivan. Hopefully, I will say this. Tune into DR Sports later on. It's going to be a great show. And in the name of shamelessness, absolutely. You don't need me to explain it to you. We know we're shit. Our season is crap. However, I will sit around the DR table, Matisse's NA, with the only person with a point on the board. So that makes me victorious in the context of DR. And there will be cookings. I've already rattled AGT in the group chat this morning. He's not in a good mood. Clapping back. And Abby and Robbie will have to we'll have to hold that. And yeah, so what? I've listen. It's all about shamelessness and just enjoying stuff now for the rest of the season. Yes, I have said I want Arsenal to win the league, which I still do. But you know, at the end of the day, when they do lose, it is still funny.
Is Matisse on it? Is Matisse on it today?
Matisse is on it. Yeah, Matisse is on it.
So he can just participate by not being involved.
Yeah, just chill. Hasn't even played a game.
No.
And he's managed to get all that content out of it.
Yeah.
You know, he's had a blinder. All we need now is for Everton to, you know, get a draw at the Bridge tonight or whatever, you know. But yeah, but tune into DR Sports later on tonight. And we got the full view later on today as well. So yes, I will see you then, guys. Take care. Those throw out the Emery signal. I won't be doing that. We'll see you then, guys. Take care. I'm out of here. Peace.